Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. This article comes to you guys from Fierce Network. I'll leave a link to it in the description so you guys can check it out. So, yes, this deal was just announced this morning. SpaceX scoops up EchoStar's spectrum for $17 billion. What I think this leads to a huge opportunity for T-Mobile. And yes, I will acknowledge this deal directly has nothing to do with T-Mobile and Starlink. This is Elon buying up new spectrum, and they're going to put that to use for direct to sale. T-Mobile will have to create a newer partnership and sign up for this, which I think they will. And then they should just combine the PCS block that they're already using with Starlink and combine it with this, and then it'll be that much more of a better experience. And I think that's what SpaceX and Starlink are going to shoot for. They want their partners to have the best possible experience and its customers. And Starlink and SpaceX, they will need partners for this. They can't just have spectrum in the sky and nobody signs up, right? So Boost, we already know Boost Mobile is a partner of theirs. Boost right now might be the best SIM card to have in the industry, even though they have now officially shifted to an MVNO. I mean, you're on the AT&T network, and then if you're not on any network, you're going to be on this SpaceX Starlink connection, which is going to have plenty of capacity, and the next generation satellites are going to be 5G, which they're stating in the press release is going to perform like an LTE terrestrial network. So you could probably get like 30 megabits per second on that connection, which is plenty, especially if you're off grid. That is plenty speed. So I think this is a huge opportunity for T-Mobile they should sign this partnership very early. I know they have like a 1 year exclusive deal, but they just need to do it. That puts a lot of pressure on AT&T and T and Verizon and what they're doing with AST and how they move moving forward. If T-Mobile immediately signs up with this, AT&T and Verizon will likely be forced to have to sign up too with Starlink, because as it stands today, from what I've been told, AST really doesn't have anything to compete with that. AST does not have their own spectrum. They won't be able to put as much bandwidth on air, and they won't have nearly as many satellites. And yes, I understand the satellites that AST is proposing, that's better technology, beamforming, it's low band. I get it, I understand, but having the ability to have like 600 plus satellites in space and to load them up with that type of AWS bandwidth, I mean, that's hard to compete against. So a huge opportunity for T-Mobile to really end the coverage gap conversation once and for all, and still have a decent product they're putting out there, right? We've talked about it before, right? I've said that T-Mobile initially announced this Starlink deal as a way to have services in non-terrestrial areas, right, off the grid. But yet, what we've seen and experienced in testing, T-Mobile is allowing you to use this satellite service pretty much anywhere that they don't have coverage. It could literally be in the smallest towns where there's no coverage. T-Mobile will, you will connect to Starlink. Now, the problem is still going to be penetration, right? So you're going to have more of this bandwidth. You're going to have next generation satellites. What about it penetrating indoors, right? That's probably still not going to be a thing. Even outdoors, you're on a weak signal of like 117, 118 RSRP. It's going to be hard to penetrate indoors. It might be nearly impossible unless there's maybe some low band associated. So that could be in the works. I don't know how that would work, but that could be in the works. But I think this is a huge opportunity for T-Mobile to have better performing bandwidth, right? Just imagine you're on a road trip, and let's say Spotify or Apple Music or YouTube Music is a app that is optimized for the space for the satellite connection. That used to be a dead spot. Now you drive through it, your music continues to play as normal, right? That would be a big win for T-Mobile and its perception and everything else, right? So I view this as a huge opportunity for T-Mobile. I think it's a big opportunity for Verizon and AT&T as well. But T-Mobile moving into this partnership, I think, would set the standard for the moves that AT&T and Verizon make next. I think that would really set the standard, and I think that would be a huge opportunity for T-Mobile. I'm speculating, of course. I guess they could continue the uh, the Starlink deal that they're currently in, but I don't know how that would work because SpaceX and Starlink would update and upgrade the same satellites. So they're not going to leave 650 satellites without this AWS. So this deal between them and T-Mobile has to get made, right? It just has to happen. And there's also been rumors floating around that T-Mobile simply got outbid, and that might be true, right? T-Mobile maybe wasn't ready to spend 17 billion for AWS to put that on their terrestrial network, right? That's a lot of money. T-Mobile probably was a part of the bidding, but they remained disciplined, and SpaceX ended up getting it for 17 billion, and then there's some additional debt that they'll cover through 2027 for 2 billion. So Charlie's getting filthy rich with Dish. Their stock is through the roof. So everybody's happy, right? But I do see a huge opportunity here, and I simply think T-Mobile will just have to sign on, even though they're in this exclusive partnership. Whenever that runs out, I think T-Mobile will just sign up because it's their brand identity almost. I mean, they've been advertising T Satellite since the Super Bowl when the big ad came out. They continue to push it. It's part of their page when their website when you first log on. You can see it on T Life. It's everywhere. So the branding is massive for it. So there's no way they're just going to drop off and say see you later, right? They're going to sign up and I would almost say by default, and they're going to make this partnership work somehow, some way, even if they have to pay Elon more. Whatever the case, they got to make it work. So let me know your thoughts. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.